Hello, and welcome to episode 2 of the Diversity Ambassadors podcast. Today, we will share about our first days here at Saarland University and some helpful information based on our experiences. So whether you're a new student or you've been studying here for a while, you could get some useful tips or even chances to remember your first days here. We hope you'll enjoy listening to us.
Okay, also Anita, erinnerst du dich an deinen ersten Tagen in Saarbrücken? Wie war's?
When I arrived in Saarbrücken, I didn't have an accommodation, so I had to stay at the Jugendberg, which is the youth hostel, throughout my registration process, and that cost me 25 euros a night for a bunk bed. I remember that there was an incident during my stay where I missed the dinner that day because I could not understand the language. I misunderstood the time that the dinner was supposed to start, and I had already paid for it, so I came downstairs from my room late, and the food was already finished. I remember feeling bad that day. How was your first day, Tana?
For me, my first day, I still remember it clearly. So it was very cold day, and I underestimated the weather here. So I had only a thin jacket. Unfortunately, the landlord couldn't give me the key until the night. So imagine I carried my big luggage while walking aimlessly at the campus because I need to pick up my student card at that moment. But luckily, Welcome Center at the uni campus provide me some useful information, so I know where can I stay for a while. Also, there was a German lady who offered me some help and invited me to the thinking class. It was fun and interesting. Afterwards, she also treated me some pizza and drove me to the landlord too. Yeah, that was very impressive for me. So what about you, Priyasha?
So for me, I arrived at the beginning of Easter weekend, and I didn't know how big a deal it was in Germany before arriving. When we got here, it was late at night, and everything was closed. A friend that I met through my father's alumni network picked us up and brought us a warm homemade meal. And coincidentally, it was the only cooked food that we got to eat for a few days because everything was closed for Easter. And we were living off whatever we could buy at the petrol pump beside the Airbnb. The petrol pump convenience stores and the express markets at the Hauptbahnhof will usually be open even during large holidays, which was very lucky for us because we couldn't go shopping for anything. And I didn't have any warm clothes coming from India. I remember walking around in like 6 layers of clothing, and they were all different colors, and I was just, a very colorful person walking around Saarbrücken. How was it for you, Julian?
Also, ich war schon als Touristin in Saarbrücken gekommen, weil ich ihr Freunde hatte, die hier schon lebten. Aber als ich zum Studieren kam, das war etwas anders. Damals streikten die Busfahrer und ich musste etwa 30 Minuten laufen, um in meinen Übernachtungsort zu gelangen. Das war wirklich peinlich und ich war sehr müde. Und in diesem Moment sagte ich zu mir selbst, wo hast du nochmal deine Füße hingelegt? Und wenn ich noch heute daran denke, lache ich einfach. Das war so ein komischer ersten Eindruck.
So, was it easy for you to find your way about the city and the university, Jovian?
Ja, also es war ziemlich einfach, mich zurechtzufinden, da die Stadt nicht allzu groß ist. Und wie ich schon bereits gesagt habe, ich hatte Freunde in Saarbrücken und die haben mir dabei geholfen, die nötigen Informationen zu finden. Aber allerdings, es war schwieriger, sich auf dem Campus zu orientieren. Aber mit der Zeit gewöhnt man sich dran. Wie ist es bei dir gewesen, Priyasha?
It wasn't difficult, I'd say. We were able to take the bus to go to and from university and to explore the city. But I ended up spending a good bit of money on day passes because I didn't know at the time that I could use my enrollment certificate to get around. I could simply show my registration to the bus driver even before getting my student card. And this was something that I did not know. But when the university opened again after Easter and my first stop was the Welcome Center, they finally helped me get everything sorted, and then it was really quite convenient. Tana, how was it for you?
For me, I thought it's quite easy to travel around the city because of Saarland application. However, I really have zero information about the city and tourist attraction. Regarding the university, at the first moment, I also had no idea about it too. But after subscribing to some Facebook pages like ASTA and International Office, I could access useful information and find something interesting to do. So what about you, Anita?
Honestly speaking, it wasn't easy navigating the city, especially with my disability. The university was also difficult, but less difficult than the city simply because of the university map that was given to us during registration. I remember that I would take the train to the main station and then take a bus from the main station to the university because I didn't know that there was a shortcut to a bus station nearby where I lived. And I could have easily taken a bus straight to the university. So it was a lot of back and forth for me.
So, how about your experience in coming here from your country, Anita?
I came to Stuttgart first for medical purposes because there was a specialist doctor that I had a treatment with. Then I moved to Saarbrücken later for my education. The application process was quite easy. I can't say that I had problems with it because I didn't come to Germany as a student. I came to visit, and since my medical condition was better treated here than in my country during this period, I enjoyed my stay here, I then decided to study in Germany. How about you, Priyasha?
It was relatively easy, but that's probably because I gave myself a lot of extra time. So I ended up deferring my acceptance by one semester to the following semester, from basically the winter semester to the summer semester, because my acceptance arrived too late for me to be able to arrange everything within the short span of time that was available. So I ended up getting 6 more months to figure things out, and thankfully everything ended up going well. It was also my first time coming to Europe as an adult, so it was very exciting. How was it for you, Jovian?
Also, was die Formalitäten für die Einreise betrifft, war es ziemlich kompliziert. In meinem Land gibt es kein deutsches Konsulat und um ein Visum zu bekommen, musste ich in ein Nachbarland, in Kamerun, reisen. Das Schwierigste für mich war, dass ich in einem anderen Land aufhalten musste, um das Visum zu beantragen. Außerdem müssen wir ein Interview absolvieren, das eine wichtige Rolle für die Annahme unseres Antrags spielt. Zudem müssen wir alles parat haben, gegebenenfalls die Unterkunft, den Nachweis über die finanzielle Unterstützung und alle benötigten Unterlagen. Ansonsten kann es ein Grund für die Ablehnung des Antrags sein. Dana, war es auch so schwierig bei dir?
For me as well. So the first issue of studying here is to find a place to study, of course. However, I found out that the DAAD website provides some great information about the study program that I want to study. And secondly, the visa issues is the real deal as well, especially the financial evidence for applying for the visa. The amount of the money I need for the block account was intense. Yeah, like that's throwing insane amount of money into the block account. Yeah, we all know about this.
Yeah.
And why did you choose to study in Saarbrücken, Germany?
Yeah, when I was searching for the program to study, I prioritized the cost of living first. There were 2 places I was interested in, Saarbrücken and Munich. However, by comparing the cost of living of these 2 places, I found out that Saarbrücken is much cheaper, of course. Yeah, so that's why I choose to study here. How about you, Anita? Why did you choose to study here?
So I didn't have any knowledge of German when I came to the country because I was visiting for medical reasons. Saarland University gave me the opportunity to learn German without any prior knowledge of the language. The student colleague at the university was offering classes for complete beginners. Hence, I applied to study here because the level of language required here was suitable for me. Also, when I was searching for a university to study in, it was important to me that the university has a diverse community of students. Since diversity is one of the main attractions of Saarland University because it is a border state to other countries like France and Luxembourg, I decided to apply here. Jovian, why did you choose to study in Saarbrücken?
Also, seitdem ich in Gabun bin, kannte ich bereits Saarbrücken, weil eine Partnerschaft zwischen unseren beiden Universitäten besteht. Aber als ich darüber nachdachte, mein Studium in Deutschland fortzusetzen, war Saarbrücken nicht meine erste Wahl. Aber sie gehört jedoch zu den Universitäten, die mir am schnellsten geantwortet haben und die einfache Zugangsvoraussetzungen hatten als andere. Und Priyasha, warum hast du Saarbrücken ausgewählt?
One of my wishes was to live in a city that is not too big, not too small, not overly populated or filled with like the hustle and bustle that comes with large cities. And Saarbrücken fit this desire perfectly because not only does it have a vibrant population living here, like young people, elderly people, there's like a good demographic. Also, like Anita already mentioned, lots of diversity, but it also has an incredibly popular and strong computer science department that is ranked among the top few universities of Germany. And this is what I wanted to study. So yeah, Saarbrücken was really a great choice for me.
Jetzt teilen wir einige hilfreiche Tipps für neue Studenten. Dana, weißt du, wo man nützliche Informationen für neue Studenten finden kann?
Yeah, personally, I found out that the Welcome Center provides some useful information for settling in Saarbrücken. So, for example, I had some difficulties in applying for the resident permit. Like, I didn't get the appointment. So, I decided to contact the Welcome Center, and it solved like a magic, you know? Yeah, so feel free to visit there and ask any questions you have.
I would also recommend attending the orientation in the first week of the semester because they tell you all that you need to know. And if for any reason you miss the first week, then go online and follow the university's social media pages like Facebook, Instagram, and so on. What are some of the great places to see in and around Saarbrücken, Priyasha?
I would definitely recommend a leisurely stroll by the Saar River. There are so many beautiful bridges in the city, one of which comes to mind is the Alte Brücke. You can also visit the Saarbrücker Schloss, and it gives you a gorgeous view of the whole city from up there. My other recommendations would be the cafes in St. Johannemarkt and Viertel, which are so lovely to visit alone or even with friends.
Also es gibt auch etwas Schönes im deutschen französischen Garten zu tun, vor allem im Frühling und im Sommer. Außer Saarbrücken könnt ihr auch schöne kleine Städte mit dem Semesterticket im ganzen Saarland besuchen. Was ich besonders schön finde, ist die Saarschleife in Mettlach.
That brings us to the end of this episode. Tell us the places you love in Saarbrücken so far in the comments. In episode 3 of the Diversity Ambassador podcast, we compare our reality in our life here with our expectations, some culture shocks we faced, and in the cultural differences we observe.
Damit sind wir am Ende dieser Folge angelangt. Erzählt uns in den Kommentaren, welche Orte ihr bisher in Saarbrücken geliebt habt. In Episode 3 des Diversity Ambassadors Podcast vergleichen wir die Realität mit unseren Erwartungen, Kulturschocks, die wir erlebt haben, und interkulturellen Unterschieden, die wir beobachtet haben.